ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, X-Wing players, and anyone who's potentially interested in X-Wing. Welcome to our channel. My call sign is BatMando, and thank you for dropping in and watching this video. Today we're going to be talking about the Battle of Yavin scenario pack. And don't think of this as an unboxing video, but rather as a review. So we're going to have two parts to this video series. First is going to be talking about just the Battle of Yavin contents, and then the second is actually going to show you how the game is played, and then a general review of the whole entire experience. Now, first off, Battle of Yavin, X-Wing, love the game, So I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it does have different instructions or different components to the game that you don't normally have in a regular X-Wing game, such as your squadrons may be built up to 35 points. Yes, you heard me, 35. So it's nearly double the normal amount of points that you have in a regular squad when you are playing in a competitive game. So now, the Imperials, they are not allowed to carry any bombs. And then what I will also tell you is that the Rebels may include up to one large ship. And I'm pretty certain that we all know which one large ship that they're talking about here. So now, you can go with the traditional, as in like, you can go with the cards that are just here in the pack, or you can actually bring in your own squadron and try something different than other than what is prescribed or described here in this particular scenario pack. As a matter of fact, when we do the game ourselves, we will not be using all of the pilots that are in the pack, and we will be using some ships that are not in the pack as well. Now, there is a certain setup here. You see that we have an Imperial deployment that will only be range 5 to 1 here. The trench, which I will bring out here in just a minute, is the full length of the board, give or take about 1/4 of an inch. Diagonally across from each other, you will have the Rebel deployment. Now, there is going to be this thing called a reserve. We'll talk about that later. But what I thought I would just go ahead and bring to your attention was some of the cards. Now, you may have already seen some of the cards. If you use the Launch Bay Next app, then you will know that it has a couple of selections when you're looking at certain pilots, such as Vader. There is more than one Vader. There's the Vader pilot card, regular. There is the Battle of Yavin Vader, and then there is the Starter Squadron Vader. Now, what I'm just going to go ahead and show you is, yes, there are individual pilots and loadout cards for each of these particular ships. So in which case, this, I believe, was the start of the standard loadout cards. And you can see that they have some pretty cool things. Like here we have Wampa, who is a pilot skill 1 for a TIE fighter. Comes with elusive, comes with vengeful, different conditions. If you are not certain of these conditions, you can always check out the link that we leave in every one of our video descriptions to a fandom wiki that will go ahead and explain what elusive is, what vengeful is, etc., etc. So we have Wampa, we have Iden flying in a TIE Interceptor, not just a TIE fighter this time. And another cool thing that I want to say about all these cards, and something that we're seeing more often with the AMG releases, is that they have the art on the back. It's the same art, just bigger on the back. And the standard loadout cards, as you can see, are going to be a lot larger than your normal everyday pilot cards, or upgrade cards for that matter. Now, we have Iden in the TIE Interceptor. Then we are going to have a series of different Interceptor pilots referred to as Sigma 4, Sigma 5, Sigma 6, Sigma 7. If you're asking what happened to the first 3, well, then we don't talk about those. Now, let's see here. Backstabber, Mauler, Dark Curse, and Darth Vader. So these are all going to be the pilot cards or standard loadout cards that they give you in this particular pack. Flipping on over to the Rebel side now, you will see that we have a Y-Wing player or Y-Wing pilot, Dex Tyree, and then we have Biggs. We have a different loadout or standard loadout for Dutch here. Dutch is going to have ion cannon, advanced proton torpedoes, and a targeting astromech. So, and again, if you are curious, like what are all the abilities and everything else, then just go ahead and check out that site that I was talking about. All right, so we have whole Okand is how I'm going to say that. I probably did that wrong. We got Garvin. Garvin still has the same ability of taking a focus, passing it if he spends it to anyone range 1 to 3. Then we got Jack. Jack. All I got to say, Jack, man. Poor Porkins. All right, but I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and point out one of the things that I find absolutely hilarious about this particular card, and that is the unstable sublight engines. After you are destroyed, you must execute a 1 forward maneuver, then each other ship at range 0 to 1 suffers 1 damage, just because, well, it's Jack. So, sorry, Jack. We'll let you go back to where you were. All right, so now we have Luke. Now, interesting thing about this particular wedge. So now, what I will go ahead and tell you is that also in this pack, are different cardboard pieces for some of the pilots that we don't have, but it's going to have Wedge. But as you can see right here, Wedge is a 5 in this scenario and not the typical 6 like you see him in Launch Bay Next and other places. So he's got a pretty awesome loadout here. He also has, just like Luke, they both have this thing called attack speed, where if you fully execute a 3 or 4 straight, you may boost with a 1 forward template. So that's pretty cool. And they also modified Wedge's ability just a little bit here. While you perform a primary attack, if there is another friendly ship in the defender's firing arc, the defender rolls 1 fewer defense dice. So it's no longer a guaranteed that whoever Wedge shoots at is automatically going to get 1 defense die less, or you actually have to set up the condition to make it apply. And then, of course, our one and only Han Solo. So in which case, Han Solo working with Chewbacca here, having a rig cargo shoot, the Millennium Falcon title. While you defend, if you are evading, you may re-roll 1 defense dice, so that's pretty cool. And then, of course, L337's programming. Now, this is basically all the content. Oh, let's go ahead and show you the trench stuff here. There are a couple of condition markers that are also going to pop out of here. So in the video that we will be shooting later, but releasing on the same day as this one, we are going to show you how this all gets set up, but also we're going to show you how it's played out and everything else. One of the things I like to go ahead and bring to your attention is when you're playing this game, yes, they provide you all the cards. Yes, they provide for you all the trench pieces and a couple of condition cards, which we'll get to in just a moment. They provide you the cardboard base here, but you still have to provide the ships, and you also have to provide the dials and everything else. So there's that. We're going to go ahead and start setting up the trench. Setting up the trench is really easy. You got to start with this piece here, or you got to start with the exhaust port piece, which is eventually going to end up down there. And then you just go ahead and assemble the innies and the outies here. Oops. And now, this will be my second time to play the Battle of Yavin expansion pack when we record it. What I will tell you of my experience from the first time was that it is very heavily geared towards the Imperial win. And I'm just going to say that is thematically appropriate. So if you are the Rebel player on this one, be prepared for quite a challenge. So when I say quite a challenge, I'm talking about, well, you are going to be fighting a uphill battle all the way. So now, that being said, you get this all set up. You put it range 3 from the Imperial side. Now, I'm not going to be able to do that right here, right now, but this was everything that we have in the video. But let's go ahead and talk about these 2 condition cards right here. So the first condition card that we're going to be talking about is the attack run. Now, essentially, if you have a ship inside of the trench, you are only allowed to make them do straight maneuvers, and if you actually end up dialing in something that is not a straight maneuver, you will gain a deplete token and execute a 2 forward instead. So now you cannot be moved except by executing your maneuver or performing a boost using the one forward template. There's a lot more to this that I'm not going to read, but one of the things I'm going to go ahead and point out is that in order to shoot at the exhaust port, you must be equipped with a proton torpedo or advanced proton torpedo. So if you don't have those two things, then guess what? The Empire will most likely end up blowing up Yavin. So that is one of the condition cards. We also have the Yahoo. So at setup, your big your big ship base is going to be starting in reserves. And when you are placed, you must be placed beyond range 1 of any enemy ship. At the start of the engagement, if a friendly ship has been assigned the attack run condition, you may be placed anywhere in the play area at range 1 of enemy ships. So instead of just showing up here in, say, the Rebel area play at the very beginning, you can go anywhere as long as you are beyond range 1 of any enemy ship when you are placed on the mat. So that's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that away. Let's talk about winning. In other words, to get the objective, as in for the Rebels win and also for the Imperial win. So, victory, the Rebel player must wins immediately if they destroy the Death Star. And yes, we'll talk about how to destroy the Death Star very, very soon. Next, during the end phase, the Imperial player wins if all Rebel ships have been destroyed. And at the end of the 9th round, the Death Star commences primary ignition and the Imperial player wins. So you have to get this done within 9 rounds. So typically on some of your normal squad builds, you can go up to 12. Now, typically if you are doing pretty well in terms of playing style, your games don't normally go past 8. So, but in this one, it's definitely 9. Let's see here. I was looking for there it is. So, the exhaust port. Scenario feature must be attacked by proton torpedoes or advanced proton torpedoes. While attacking the exhaust port, you may spend 2 force charges to change 1 focus result to a crit result while attacking the exhaust ports. If the attack die show at least 2 crit die results, the Death Star is destroyed. So now we're going to go ahead and put that away. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Battle of Yavin contents. You'll see my review and the showdown summary of everything that takes place during the game. We're looking forward to doing that. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in a different video. And as always, BatMando out.